You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. Party of National Unity and Progress urges Zambians to interrogate political party manifestos thoroughly. ECZ working on modalities that favor persons with disability in the electoral process. 2 weeks home vacation granted to prisoners as stakeholders condemn the move. In international news, Morocco vaccinates prisoners as it continues robust campaign. And in sports news, MICHO explains omission of Fantastic Four. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates 28th to 29th May 2021. Time 07:30 hours to 16:30 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges 950 kwacha. Lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010. Or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people say, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. Government has partnered with unique global distributors to provide internet services to learning institutions throughout the country. Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Administration Dr. Jabin Mulwanda says 3,000 schools, both in rural and urban areas, will be equipped with internet services in order to enhance e-learning. Mr. Mulwanda adds that internet services will go a long way in making it possible for teachers to reach out to pupils, as well as allow teachers to be capacitated with the necessary skills in delivering education content through internet-based platforms. Dr. Mulwanda said this when he launched the communication network and e-learning platform for education purposes and Wi-Fi zone for rural and urban communities in Zambia at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School. Meanwhile, Unique Global Distributors Chief Executive Officer Adam Issa says the Wi-Fi zone will allow for a direct revenue share model with the schools, as well as provide additional income for schools. Details in this report.
About 4.2 million pupils were in 2020 sent home after government decided to shut down all schools following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic globally and in Zambia. Lack of e-learning services in the country saw the education sector lag in the area of service delivery to the pupils. With now COVID-19 proving to be a long-term problem, the government has been looking to other alternative ways of ensuring that education services continue to reach the intended market without barriers. It is for that reason that the government has partnered with unique global distributors that will provide internet services to 3,000 schools in both rural and urban areas in Zambia, meant to enhance e-learning. Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Administration Dr. Jabin Mulwanda, who launched the communication network and e-learning platform at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School in Lusaka, says he is confident that the internet services will allow thousands of pupils to have access to e-learning material without physically being in classrooms.
It is for this reason that we have partnered with unique global distributors to provide internet services to our learning institutions throughout the country. Ladies and gentlemen, this intervention could not have come at a better time. We have learned in responding to the COVID pandemic that we could actually reach many more people with educational services if we have connectivity.
Meanwhile, Unique Global Distributors Chief Executive Officer Adam Issa says the Wi-Fi will be distributed across all the 10 provinces and will cater for both rural and urban schools.
Wi-Fi zones allows for a direct revenue share model with the school and will provide additional income to it, creating sustainable income for your schools. Our plan implementation strategy has taken into consideration all factors including location, access to power, and the size of the various schools. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight that we will also be providing employment opportunities in the areas where we will be deploying. Training and support will be provided to local Zambians to be able to install and support the networks.
YASAT Africa Vice President Virat Kelvin has explained that the Wi-Fi will also reach schools in places with no electricity.
They need to have unfettered access to the internet for education purposes, whilst protecting the minds of the community from offending content. And the internet being this vast information space, the pupils are quite easily be distracted or led astray to content they shouldn't be doing. We've assured the Ministry of Education that we will block them from entering into those portals, into those content sites.
And the teachers at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School could not hide their joy.
Launch is very welcome, and we are very happy as teachers of IT because it means you can even give a lesson, not being there physically, but even when you are out, you can prepare a lesson and then ask the children to join, and then they can even listen to their lesson.
In this 21st century, internet services have become the new normal, and the introduction of these services in school will indeed make it possible for ICT lessons to be understood well by the learners, as well as enhance the education sector. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has acknowledged that persons with disabilities have been left behind in the past electoral process for various reasons, among them the inclusion of physically inaccessibility and failure to provide registration and voting materials in accessible formats. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, Pamela Kabamba, says government is, however, committed to making sure that persons with disability can fully participate in both the political and public life, which is evidenced by the ratifications and the domestications of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. She says this has been evidenced by the ratifications and the of the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The PS said this in a speech read on her behalf by Director Human Resource Alex Njovu at a public dialogue forum between Cherie Holmes Society and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. More in this report.
Persons with disability are usually sidelined in many sectors of society despite government and other line organizations making effort in improving their lives. Persons with disability fall under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. In an election year like 2021, it is expected that government puts in place modalities that favor differently abled persons so that they are not left behind. The cries of the persons with disability in this process is that there are no accessible materials to help various kinds of disabilities. In this regard, Cheshire Holmes and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, Thursday convened a public dialogue forum on this matter.
Persons with disabilities have the right to be included in the electoral process in a dignified manner, and as our theme for this occasion has highlighted, this isn't simply a good suggestion. This is a must. With that in mind, I'm grateful to the Electoral Commission of Zambia for showing this occasion the importance it deserves and sending senior level representation. ECZ must certainly be commended for this. I'm also glad to see organizations of persons with disabilities well represented here. I'm confident that your rich presentations and contributions will be reflective of the views of persons with varying disabilities right across the country.
And the Electoral Commission of Zambia Principal Electoral Officer says ECZ has put in place better measures that support persons with disability in this year's election.
When we go to the polling station, a blind voter is going to be asked by our post staff whether they would want to use the jacket or they want to be assisted in a traditional manner, being helped by a friend or relative of their choice who is aged 18 years and above and in possession of a national registration card, or maybe to be helped by a presiding officer, or to use this jacket. And this ballot paper jacket promotes the secrecy of the vote, because no one is going to see how you have marked the ballot paper.
Meanwhile, government has acknowledged the challenges faced in incorporating persons with disability, but that it is working to ensure that no one is left behind.
We have learned from past experiences, and we have been gradually making amends to ensure that every eligible Zambian citizen exercises their democratic rights without leaving anyone behind. May I bring to light government's commitment of ensuring that persons with disabilities can participate fully in both political and public life, which is evidenced by the ratification and domestication of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Zambia is among the state parties that have signed and ratified this convention, and we have gone ahead to have it progressively domesticated into the Disability Act number 6 of 2012.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
The leadership movement has charged that the Ministry of Health and ECZ are being used to play politics on discouraging of public rallies ahead of the polls, despite knowing that it is impossible to have elections without campaign rallies. Party National Youth Coordinator Chalwe Chandalala says they are going ahead to hold public rallies, conduct door-to-door and online engagements ahead of the August 12th general elections. Mr. Chandalala has called on the police to remain professional as they police the general elections.
Ministry of Health and ECZ are being used to play politics on discouraging of public rallies ahead of the polls, despite knowing that it is not possible to have elections without campaign rallies. In adding our voice as the leadership movement, we are going ahead to hold public rallies, conduct door and online engagements as we campaign. And we call on the police to remain professional as they police the general elections.
United Party for National Development president has promised a violent-free country once given the mandate to lead the country. Addressing the media Thursday, Mr. Hichilema notes with sadness that the country has witnessed unprecedented violence, especially during the election time, but says all this will be a thing of the past when he's in government. He has called for peaceful elections as the campaigns begin and avoid confrontations with other political opponents at all costs.
Farmers, this is your campaign so that you can buy farming inputs at a lower cost. Instead of the 600, 700 kwacha per bag, this is your campaign so that you can get fertilizer at a price of 250 kwacha, the 50 kg bag. Whose campaign is this? This is yours. Why should Mr. Lungu stop you from campaigning for change that will deliver lower farming inputs, better price, paid on time, under this leadership? All the time. This is your campaign. Victims of PF violence, and there are many of you, there are many of us. This is your campaign. Because this alliance will end violence in our country.
Opposition Party for National Unity and Progress, PNUP, has launched its 2021 to 2026 manifesto premised on 4 thematic areas of economic development. Speaking at the launch, PNUP President Hivi Hamududu has called on Zambians to vote for meaningful change by reading what each political party has to offer in their manifesto. Mr. Hamududu says only when the electorates begin to interrogate political party policies will the country at large make progress as opposed to voting for candidates anyhow. Mr. Hamududu says a political party cannot exist without an ideology through the manifesto because it is imperative that they are predictable. More in this report.
The Opposition Party of National Unity and Progress, PNU, becomes the 4th political party to launch their manifesto this month, which guides what they will do for the betterment of the Zambian economy for at least in the next 5 years. In the manifesto is a collection of plans and solutions on how they wish to lead the country once given the mandate after the August 12th general elections, especially. Speaking during the launch, party president Hivi Hamududu notes that people need to read and understand political party manifestos in order for them to make informed decisions and choose better leaders.
All candidates now, put them at ground zero and interrogate all of us and vote afresh. There is no political party here that must be premised to say this is the political party. The basis should be what they offer. Period. And you parliamentary candidates, our mayoral candidates, our councillor candidates, go in your communities and have a conversation. And in smaller groups. Now we are told because of COVID, we must have smaller groups. I think that is okay, because in the rallies, you talk down to people. Because in a rally, you don't ask questions. You can even call a big rally, and in most rallies, people are just cheating. because people have no opportunity to ask questions. In smaller meetings, we have to face the people and the answer.
Mr. Hamadudu also took time to unpack some of the critical issues that will be done to change the face of this country.
The ideology on the economy. We believe in a free market economy. Point number one for you journalists, free market economy. The very things we demanded in 1991. Why? Because free market economy is a genius of growth of economies around the world. Because there are good examples to attest to that. I can give you an example of Botswana, the shining examples within our sub-region. Say Botswana, Mauritius. I'm only mentioning 2 countries. I can't mention South Africa because they are just having problems like us. Whatever you saw there, what you see there was put by the Boers. But for us, as Zambian, as a country, we need to define what type of an economic system works for us, both from theory and practice, and from the best lessons learned elsewhere. So we believe in a free market economy. So whichever sector we discuss, it must be brushed against the free market economic principles. What is the foundation of free market economy? It's in the Bible. When man sinned, God says, man was charged to go and sweat to eat, isn't it? And therefore, the job of government is to provide opportunities for all Zambians to occupy. The development of this country cannot be made by 2 or 3 corporations or people. The real development to wipe out poverty, to reduce poverty, create employment, reduce inequalities, can only happen if we have a broad-based economic activities.
Sharon Kalimula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A Lusaka lawyer has petitioned the Constitutional Court to order the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to allow the Patriotic Front Party, which has sponsored President Edgar Lungu to file his nomination papers, to look for another candidate because President Lungu is ineligible to contest for the 12th August 2021 elections. In this matter, MICHO Mutwena, an advocate at the Lusaka High Court, is seeking a declaration that President Lungu is constitutionally prohibited from taking part in this year's presidential elections because he has been sworn into office twice. The petitioner states that the decision by ECZ to allow President Lungu's nomination document is allegedly illegal and unconstitutional and a violation of Article 1063 of the Constitution. More in this report.
The battle concerning President Edgar Lungu's eligibility to contest as a presidential candidate in the 12th August 2021 general elections continues in the Constitutional Court, with more petitions being filed challenging his eligibility. A new development has emerged surrounding this topic. Today, the latest twist concerning this issue is that a new petition has been filed by a Lusaka lawyer who wants the court to order the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to allow the Patriotic Front Party to look for another presidential candidate because President Lungu is not eligible to contest in this year's election. In this matter, Michael Mutwena, an advocate at the Lusaka High Court, who has filed in a petition dated 27th May 2021, has cited the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, as the respondent in the matter. He is seeking a declaration that President Lungu is constitutionally prohibited from taking part in this year's presidential election because he has been sworn twice in office. His argument is that ECZ's decision to allow President Lungu's nomination document to be filed in is allegedly illegal, unconstitutional, and a violation of Article 1063 of the Constitution. He argues that in accordance with Article 52, the returning office of the Commission has been given the right and duty to reject the nomination papers of a person who does not qualify or is not eligible to contest in presidential elections as a candidate, and Article 1063 is the provision that dictates that a person who has twice held office of the president is not eligible for election to the office of president. Mr. Mutwena further wants the court to declare the nominations filed by President Lungu null and void. It seems the battlefield to challenge the president's eligibility is becoming more tight, with the numbers of petitioners slowly increasing. To sum it all, the number of those petitioning the president has increased to 4. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And still in court news, the Attorney General Likando Kalaluka has applied to join the matter in which historian and political commentator Sishua is seeking nullification of all presidential running mates for the general election for failing to comply with the provision of the Constitution. In an affidavit in support of summons for joinder of party to proceedings, it states that the court will tomorrow, the 28th of May 2021, hear the application by the Attorney General on being a joinder to the case. In this petition, Dr. Sishua argues that all presidential running mates failed to comply with Article 100I of the Constitution, which requires each running mate to pay election fees, and Article 100 be supported by at least 100 registered voters from each province. He argues that the running mates did not pay the election fees and have contravened Article 100 Cap 2I and J of the Constitution, and their nominations for elections to the office of Vice President are now void. The petitioner in this matter wants an order of certiorari that all the running mates' nomination papers filed with the returning officer of the Electoral Commission of Zambia be removed forthwith from the Constitutional Court for purpose of quashing. 3 Zimbabwean men have pleaded not guilty before the Lusaka Magistrate Court for allegedly stealing more than 61,000 kwacha. The trio in this matter are Kumbulani Dube, 35, Bongani Yuma, 38, both of Chunga Township, and George Kamanda, 33, of Norfolk Board. It is alleged that on May 13, 2021, Dube, Yuma, and Kamanda jointly and while acting together did steal 61,700 cash from a motor vehicle, namely Toyota Belter registration number BLA 2089. The alleged stolen money is believed to be the property belonging to Francesca Shala of Meanwood area. The incident is said to have occurred when the complainant went to buy her children's school essentials at Mandahill, and when the matter came before Magistrate Fides Hamaundu for plea, the trio denied the allegations. Magistrate Hamaundu also granted the accused 5,000 kwacha bail each in their own recognizance, with 2 working sureties, all based in Lusaka. Matter comes up on the 10th of June 2021 as date for mention and the fixing of trial data. We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have more interesting stories lined up for you.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
President Edgar Chagwa and the PF have facilitated the expansion of Lebi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital. Vote for Edgar Chagwa and the PF that have brought you change.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
We celebrate our first anniversary of starting the news on Camnet TV on the 23rd of May 2021. Our aim is to deliver world-class news that is balanced and factual without fear or favor.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.
As we celebrate our first anniversary, we're showing you the team behind the Camnet TV World News and show you some of the news clips that made headlines.
On behalf of management and the entire newsroom, happy anniversary to Camnet News.
This is one of the areas that was highly affected by floods.
Behind me is a group of persons living with cross-cutting disabilities who every month gather at this place to receive alms from well-wishers.
The Monetary Policy Committee decided to maintain the policy rate at 8.5%.
This incident provoked Kambuli's daughter to slap one police officer, a development that annoyed the men and women in uniform.
At the revelations of President Edgar Lungu's running mate, Professor Nkanduluo, clad in her ivory flamboyant outfit, walked in majestically as a running mate should.
The latest is a couple of Lusaka's Kanyama compound. They've assaulted each other of a meager 20 kwacha.
Kudyansi masinya mayoka. Waenda kujagulako chiwagwa cha 5 wagulako na tonshaba bana bazazi bazashita enjoy.
Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
To you, our viewers, we say thank you for supporting us as we continue bringing you nothing but the best.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Oh yes, it's Mayday all the way. You've worked hard. Now it's time to play even harder with entertainment that you'll absolutely love this month on GoTV. Okay. Shake things up a little and you'll never know what drama will fall. No matter your age, there's always some fun to be had. And if it ain't broke, they'll fix it anyway. For your favorite shows, stay connected to GoTV to get into Mayday entertainment.
Find something to distract me.
You got it, no problem. GoTV, love it.
The much-awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are: can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates: 28th to 29th May 2021. Time: 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges: 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people say, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Prisoners have been empowered to take a 2-week meaningful leave to visit their families. This is according to the Correction Service Act. Through the Commissioner General, with advice from the Ministry of Home Affairs, could now allow any inmate to break off for 2 weeks to visit their families. Zambia Correctional Service Commissioner General Chisela Chileshe says the provision was in the previous act, but President Lungu enhanced it through the constitutional provision. Meanwhile, Dr. Chileshe assured life sentence convicts that there was hope because President Lungu signed another act which had a provision for them to be released on a special license away from a pardon.
Now that there is hope in this president, at least for now, that is looking at their welfare. For the first time ever in the act that he has signed, there is a provision where somebody who has been sentenced to life can be given a license to go out, So if there are 100 people on life and we assess them appropriately, we write to the president to say, these guys, they've behaved well, and they are remorseful, and they are not a danger to society. The president has now a constitutional right through the Corrections Act to give them license to go. And if they behave well, they will not come back. Unless they, go and again mess up, then they will come back and continue to be lifers.
Meanwhile, GEAR's Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi has charged that the policy implemented to allow inmates to have a 2 weeks home visitation is an attempt meant to buy prisoners' votes. Mr. Chipenzi states that despite the gesture being good, if no effective management mechanisms of holidaying inmates is put in place, crime may also increase and COVID-19 outbreaks, including suicides. He has, however, described the move as a blackmail by President Lungu seeking inmates' votes. And moving on in the news, Zambia's annual inflation rate for the month of May 2021 has climbed to record high at 23.2%, the highest inflation rate since the least of March of 2005. Zambia Statistical Agency interim statistician General Musepa Mulenga says the surge in inflation is partly due to a weaker currency and rising food prices, namely those of fish, oils and fats. Inflation that has been above the upper bound of the central bank's targets range of 6% to 8% for more than 2 years is expected to stay there until at least the first quarter of 2023. Mr. Mulenga adds that Northern Province recorded the highest inflation at 31.3%, followed by Central Province at 25.9%, while Southern Province recorded the lowest at 17.2%. Meanwhile, the country recorded a trade surplus of 10.1 billion in the month of April 2021, indicating a 37.5% increase from March 2021. The Ministry of Health says it is concerned with the high risk of COVID-19 transmission associated with political campaigns. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, has since urged all political leaders at various levels to introspect and ensure that super spread activities do not further propel transmission of the pandemic. The Permanent Secretary adds that the ministry has heightened its engagement with political parties at various levels as a multi-sectorial response and has urged the parties to be responsive to the call. Meanwhile, 320 new confirmed COVID-19 cases were reported in the last 24 hours, with 2 deaths from Lusaka and Northern Province.
Any super spreader event in our communities, once again, we've started seeing that these are being conduits of the new infections we are seeing. We are similarly very concerned with the high risk of COVID-19 transmission associated with political activities, particularly those where large gatherings are part of. And we would like to urge all our political parties, their leaderships at various levels, to introspect and ensure that the super spreader events do not further propel the transmission of COVID-19. As a multi-sectoral response, our engagement with all players, including political parties at various levels, will be heightened, and we urge them to respond positively. It is important to state that the reported variants of concern in our country are also going to have an impact on the evolution of the COVID-19 situation in Zambia. And we will continue with our routine genomic sequencing as part of the continued strengthening our point of entry surveillance, with over 6,000 travelers screened in the last 24 hours. Of this, we placed 500 under self-isolation, while 61 were denied entry into the country. The last 24 hours, Zambia has recorded a total of 320 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 out of 6,988 tests conducted. We recorded 2 deaths in the last 24 hours, one from Lusaka province and the other one Northern Province.
The Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, ZAMRA, is impressed with the compliance levels of registered health shops and pharmacies in Chipata districts for abiding by its set guidelines as they provide a service to members of the public. ZAMRA Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Iliamupu says the authority targets to ensure that only allowed medicines by the institutions are accessed by the people. Speaking in an interview with Zanis after conducting inspections on health shops and pharmacies in Chipata City, Mrs. Iliamupu commended the authority's partnership with the Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, aimed at curbing the entry of medical substances that are prohibited in the country. More in this report.
The Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority is in Chipata District of Eastern Province to inspect health shops and pharmacies, as well as promote sensitizations on the importance of abiding by its set regulations. ZAMRA Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Iliamupu gives an overview after conducting inspections in Chipata City.
Basically, we are here to conduct sensitization as well as inspection of pharmacy outlets. So these are basically drugstores, health shops, as well as agro-veterinary shops. in order to check whether they are complying to set standards. So we've visited a number of them this morning, and I think so far so good in terms of compliancy. I think most of them are complying, and this is by and large because of a number of inspections that the authority has been undertaking over time.
Earlier, Mrs. Iliamupu led the ZAMRA team, which paid a courtesy call on Zambia Revenue Authority Mwami Border Station Manager Wilson Banda.
But as ZRA, we are aware of restricted goods and goods that actually have to be accompanied with the further paperwork. Not only is medicines, but also to do with other restricted goods. For instance, under agriculture, we always look for import permits as well as export permits. When it comes to medicines, we know that there is an issue to do with also licensing from your agency as well as that authorization that accompanies the declaration.
ZRA, you're able to inspect medicines, you're able to ensure that there are no illegal importation of medicines, that only authorized products are allowed into the country. So for us, that is important in as far as protecting public health is concerned.
ZAMRA, while working with various stakeholders, is effectively working to ensure that it gives guidelines to health shops and pharmacies by regulating the sale of all medicines to members of the public as a way of safeguarding the lives of the local citizenry. Sylvester Shimba reporting for the news in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
We take another set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have international and sports news. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbanda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. MOROCCO Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, MOROCCO, for my perfect skin.
It's been 365 days of bringing news on your screens. 365 days of giving you nothing but factual stories. 365 days of giving you those breaking stories, and 365 days of giving you balanced and unbiased news. The last 365 days has made Camnet Television as the most trusted TV channel in current affairs. We together look forward to another 365 days. Remember, Camnet Television, not just another channel.
This month, we're taking over your TV screen with brand new entertainment. A Border Patrol agent is forced to work for a Mexican cartel in Coyote.
My family! It's up to you to keep them safe.
A Ghanaian fashion designer weathers societal prejudice while chasing her dreams in 40 and Single.
Single ladies to the dance floor.
A husband will stop at nothing to cover the tracks of his wife's outrageous crime in What If?
It is your responsibility to make sure that I come out clean.
3 chefs go head-to-head using ingredients chosen by their very own neighbors in Kitchen Crash.
Oh, I love it. It's blended. It's meat sauce.
There's meat sauce. And there are wacky adventures galore when 2 families are forced to live together in boy, girl, dog, cat, mouse, cheese.
We can handle it.
It's your moment to be taken over with the freshest entertainment.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 07:30 hours to 16:30 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic bank account number 913000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, an exodus of tens of thousands of people on Thursday morning after authorities ordered the evacuation of part of Goma City in the eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The military governor of North Kivu province, General Constance Dima, said in an address on local media to the population, citing the names of 10 districts in the city. Residents are heading towards the southwest region of Masisi, Seke and the nearby Rwandan border to avoid a possible sudden eruption on the Nyiragongo volcano, whose weakened lava sprout has already devastated the area. Esperance Mwaba, a passenger to be transported out of the now forbidden area of the city, is over the natural phenomenon. Meanwhile, Africa News also reports that around 300 inmates at Ao Arjat 1 prison in Sale, a city about 15 kilometers 9 miles from Rabat, were given a COVID-19 vaccination on Wednesday as part of the authorities' attempts to curb the spread of the virus in Morocco. Here's a roundup.
An exodus of tens of thousands of people Thursday morning after authorities ordered the evacuation of part of Goma City in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Residents head towards the southwest region of Masisi Sake and the nearby Rwandan border to avoid a possible sudden eruption of the Nyiragongo volcano, whose weakened lava spurt has already devastated the area. I left for Bukavu and then Uvira to escape the volcano. I can't stand these earthquakes. I decided with my family to cross to the other side of the lake in Bukavu. We can't stand the tremors. Locals were advised to pack bare essentials, close their homes without haste, and exit the area under the coordination of humanitarian workers. If the craze continues like this, we will bring an empty boat to Bukavu to pick up the migrants. Ground fractures and the indicative presence of magma under the urban area of Goma, with an extension under Lake Kivu, are behind the provincial governor's decision to evacuate the residents and avoid risking even more casualties from Mountain Nyiragongo. This situation continues to be under surveillance.
Morocco has expanded its coronavirus vaccinations to cover people locked up in its various prisons. Around 300 inmates at Al Jad 1 prison in Saleh, a city about 15 kilometers from Rabat, were inoculated on Wednesday. Since the pandemic began, 626 cases and 11 deaths have been recorded among the prison population, according to official figures. I thank everyone who took the initiative to vaccinate the prisoners. Personally, I wasn't expecting this campaign to take place. I thank everyone involved, and I call on everyone to be vaccinated so that we could protect our country from the coronavirus. Across Morocco, over 8 million people have now had their first COVID-19 jab, while nearly 5 million have been fully vaccinated with 2 doses. According to the prisons department, at least 12,000 inmates have been vaccinated since January. From the start of the pandemic, we were not afraid, but thanks to this vaccination, we will be protected. The prison's director and his staff looked after us since the start of the pandemic, and we are very happy with the vaccination because we will have full protection. Morocco leads in COVID vaccinations in Africa. Our efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19 in prisons started from the first case in April 2020. Since that date, the delegation took a series of preventive measures to fight the spread of the pandemic. This campaign is part of these precautionary measures. The kingdom has posted 9,131 fatalities and more than 500,000 cases since March 2020.
We now get into sports news. Polo coach MICHO has explained why new Glasgow Rangers signing Fashion Sakala and Red Bull Salzburg duo Patson Daka and Enoch Mwepu have not made the provisional squad for the June FIFA international friendlies. MICHO, who has named the 36-man squad, which is devoid of Daka, Mwepu, Sakala and Russian-based striker Evans Kangwa, said the quartet have been excused for them to decide on their future after having a successful season in their respective leagues. Mitchell said it would be unfair to hinder the players' prospective moves by obtaining them to accompany the team on national duty. He says Fashion is going to Rangers in Scotland and is supposed to undergo medicals and complete his switch from KV or Stende. Daka, Mwepu and Kangwa have to decide on their next future, and it is just unfair that they can make a decision that is in the best interest of the country. England-based Frankie Musonda was summoned alongside Cardiff City midfielder Tazana Mayembe, but the Raith Rovers defender will not be available for the next 8 weeks due to an injury. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Party of National Unity and Progress urges Zambians to interrogate political party manifestos thoroughly. ECZ working on modalities that favor persons with disability in the electoral process. 2 weeks home vacation granted to prisoners as stakeholders condemn the move. In international news, Morocco vaccinates prisoners as it continues robust campaign. And in sports news, MICHO explains a mission of Fantastic Four. We now look at the Camnet, a verse of the day, which is coming from the book of John 3, verse 17 to 18, and it reads, "For God did not send his Son into the world that he might condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him. Anyone who believes in him is not condemned, but anyone who does not believe is already condemned because he has not believed in the name of the one and only Son of God." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.